welcome to Trading Hour on CNBC-TV18. I'm Ekta Batra and with me is Prashant Nair. Well, it's turning out to be a session where we are definitely seeing some amount of red on the screen. So profit booking, which is coming in on all of the indices, which is really led by the Bank Nifty, you'd have to say. So down around 0.5% currently for the Bank Nifty. We have the mid-cap index just about hovering with a 30-point cut at this point in time. Nifty also at that 11,863 mark. A lot of stocks in focus. For example, the likes of Titan, and we'll be awaiting for that Infosys analyst meet to start, and that will be something that we'll be keenly watching out for in trade and in terms of commentary. Hi, Prashant.
Ekta, hi, good morning. I think in terms of markets which are not doing all that well, we've got company today, and that is unlike what we saw yesterday. I mean, actually, yesterday, the Nifty was the sole loser in all of Asia. Most Asian markets were up at least 0.5%, if not more. And India ended down. Today, I mean, as I said, we've got some markets up, some markets down. So the global picture is a bit mixed. Overnight, US markets also did not do anything special. At least equities chopped around, but didn't really do very much. The rates market moved high. Yields moved up. The 10-year US yields moved up, but that was about it. The backdrop, of course, is to all of this is the 300-point up move the Nifty has seen in the last 5 sessions, and the 800-point up move that the Bank Nifty has seen over the last 5 trading sessions. So, I mean, this seems like just digestion of those gains which came in very, very quickly. And of course, I mean, there is a news flow, but here and there, and no real big underlying trend, so as to speak. There's a statement coming in from Infosys, which is at the bottom of the screen. Infosys condemns mischievous insinuations made by anonymous sources against the co-founders. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, the one line that we have at this point in time. By the way, the analyst meet is essentially going to start anytime now, and we will cut to it in a bit from now. We'll be able to sort of get you the audio. Expect to hear from Nandan Nilekani and Salil Parekh, amongst others, as part of that analyst meet. But that is in about the next couple of minutes or so. Is this from there? Probably yes, and we'll have more then on Infosys. The stock has sharply spiked up, 1.5% higher, about 707 is where Infosys is trading at this point in time. So that is the big one. But otherwise, I mean, I think we'll just get back to Infosys. But before that, let's get some trades out of the way. Ekta.
Yes, absolutely. And I just want to point out that it's a day for a lot of the pharmaceutical stocks. Cipla coming out with numbers today, high point of the day for that stock. Sun Pharma is off the high point of the day, but nonetheless holding up with a gain of around 2%, comes out with numbers tomorrow and signed a deal in China with AstraZeneca. But nonetheless, we do have Prakash Gaba, who's here with us on the technicals of the market now. Prakash, hi, over to you. Let's start with Infosys because it's in focus. What would your take be technically on the stock? It's holding up quite well at this point.
Yes, good morning to you. Looks like it's holding up. Seen a low closer to 600 zone. That seems to be a good support to work with. Upside to maybe around 750 is a possibility. I would say that someone wants to take a trade now. Yes, can take a trade here. Just have a stop somewhere below the levels of 690 and trade long. Who knows where it goes? But 690 would be a good place to protect yourself, and perhaps closer to 750, book yourself out. There's a strong resistance close by.
Okay, what would you do? What are your trades, Prakash?
I have 2 stocks. Look, one is long, one is short. Tata Power looks good to me. Seen a good up move, good base formation. Very good chance it can climb to around 310 zones, Prashant. Stop below 290 on Tata Power should be fine. Stocks that look weak, I think Apollo Tyres. Seen a down move last couple of days after recommended come closer to the targets. The target is around 168. I will move to 165 as well. And stop that I had was on 180. I think I would move to around 177, 178 zones. I think it's weak here, Apollo Tyres.
Could you
coming down.
Yeah. Could you just look up Chola Finance? It moved up quite, I think about 20, 30 rupees very fast. It's down 5%. Anything to do here?
I think more of a fatigue out there. It went up from the levels of around 290 back to around 320, 320 zones, 325 zones. And then the bar that is made today, it's a weak bar. Looks like it's not stopping low today. I think it's going down further. Possibly we'll see around 280 zones in the days to come. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow, maybe day after. Looks like the market could go lower from here. So Chola Finance could be lower from here.
Okay, all right, Prakash, we're going to leave it on that note. Thanks very much for joining in, and we will get back on the technicals of the market. We have some more details coming in from Nandan Nilekani. it is statements from the exchanges at this point in time, and it is not from that analyst day or the audio webcast. So these are all statements coming in from the exchanges where they've condemned the comments with regards to the co-founder involvement in the alleged allegations at this point, as well as speculations are appalling. They seem to be aimed at trashing individuals' image. Prashant, you want to?
No, I mean, so I think this is important, and I think we got the schedule of the analyst meet. There was a lot about everything else, about the business strategy, etc. But there wasn't anything. Of course, this will come up. I mean, for sure, this will come up, and probably on the top of the agenda. But in terms of the schedule which the company itself had laid out, there wasn't very much. So this is intimation to the exchanges. The analyst meet starts in just a bit. Prakash is still with us. Prakash, just to clarify. Okay, I think we'll just get to, I think the two names which, I'll just get back to Prakash in just a bit. Just wanted to clarify his trades once again. All right, I think let's focus on Titan now, and we'll come back to Prakash's trades again. Titan is selling off. It's off about 20 rupees from the lows. The numbers were disappointing. We've got a couple of downgrades. The management itself has cut the jewelry business guidance for the second half of the year. Let's dive deep into the Titan results and what the street is making of it. Mangalam is here with exactly that. Mangalam.
Well, as far as Titan's numbers are concerned, the reported numbers, the company usually prepares the street in terms of what to expect. So revenue this time around, we were expecting 4,500 crore. The company reported a number just shy of that, 4,435 crore. EBITDA was a bit of a miss by about 20-25 odd crores as far as street expectations are concerned. And owing to lower EBITDA as well as not enough benefit from the tax front, we got the net profit, which grew at just about flattish, if you must, 320 versus expectations of 380 crores. The big miss came in the management con call where they cut the jewelry revenue growth guidance from 20% to 11 to 13%. Now, it's not the first time they did this year. In fact, at the start of the year, the jewelry revenue growth guidance was 22%. Then after the first quarter, they said that the first half is not conducive for 20% growth. Maybe the second half is what they will aim at. And now the management has cut that down as well, and which is why the street is not liking that, especially given the fact that the stock had seen a massive run up earlier, trading at around 48 times FY21 earnings. So there was very limited upside as far as valuations are concerned and no room for error. And that's exactly what is played out in terms of the brokerage commentary and brokerage action as well. CLSA, they've downgraded the stock to sell from underperform. While everyone believes the long-term thesis of Titan and the strength in their business, current valuations as well as the current performance, they believe, calls for a bit of a pairing of EPS. 12 to 16% is what CLSA has cut the EPS forecast by. We have Jefferies, which says risk reward is unattractive at current valuations. And Credit Suisse as well believes that the EPS cut could be anywhere between 8 to 10%. This morning we spoke with the management. The management said while the last 6 months have been tough, they do not foresee further guidance cuts going forward, at least in this year. And they have the eye on the ball of 20% set for FY21. Let's hear them out.
It's been tough for the last 6 months for sure, but June onwards has been really tight. The entire industry has been going through quite a turmoil. Our own estimates of what our competition has done, it's between -10 and -20% across the last quarter. And even for the weddings, the Dasera to Diwali season, which is what we call the festive season, 33 days, we've grown 10%, and our information is that most of competition has actually declined. We should not be cutting down our guidance. I think we should try and target this for sure. But yes, there are pockets where we've seen growth. In our own case, we've seen East do quite well. We've seen South relatively do quite well. The way we are looking at it is that this is expected to be a fairly bad year. We are not going to meet our 20% target for sure. We have given that guidance also now. 11 to 13 is our goal for the next 6 months. Having said that, I don't think we are taking our eyes off on the target of 20% growth for the next year.
Okay, so that is the view coming in on Titan as well as the management. But Shilpa Medicare has in fact bounced up quite smartly. They've received approval for a cancer drug. It is basically used for pancreatic and lung cancer. So remember that Shilpa Medicare has been slowly making inroads into the US, getting approvals for more niche products. So this is probably one of them. And you can see that the stock has spiked up on the back of that particular piece of news. So it's a cancer drug that they've received approval for Shilpa Medicare. But it's a whole host of other stocks which are reacting to earnings and more. Anisha is here with the list. Anisha.
Hi, Ekta, good morning. Let me start with the misses first because GE T&D is coming under pressure because the company reported a loss of 81 crores this quarter versus a profit of 51 crores. So there was a stark deterioration in terms of the performance. There was a sharp deterioration in terms of NFL as well because the profit is down 66% there. Similar is the story for GNFC wherein the profit was down about 71%. For Greaves Quarton, it was the story about weak top line because that remained flattish. The margins contracted and the profit was pretty much flattish. However, on the flip side, we have Torrent Power that is gaining in trade up around 5% after the profits jumped up by 83%. Of course, there was a tax benefit that aided performance, but the top line was aided by higher PPAs as well as higher PLFs. Moving on to Hindalco, which is in focus because Aleris delivered a very strong set. In fact, the EBITDA per ton has jumped up by 54% and came in closer to $527 per ton versus $342 last year. Lastly, keep an eye on SRF as well. The numbers, of course, came yesterday, but the management on the con call sounded very optimistic, and that is what is supporting the stock price today. They in fact said that they maintain the growth guidance of 40% for the specialty chemicals, and that is keeping the stock abuzz. Back to you.
Anisha, thanks very much. Running us through quickly the earnings hits and misses and hits in this case, but that's what's moving around at this point in time. Mostly, it is all earnings related. You know, we were just talking about Chola. It's actually cracking now sharply. It should come up on your screen. I'm talking about the Chola Investment Finance. It's down almost 6.5%, and 295 or so is where it is at. I mean, actually, that's a 7% cut coming through on Chola. So, I mean, retracing quite a bit, it had gained over the last 5 trading sessions or so. It started moving up from about 280 all the way to about 320-ish was the high, and it's back at about 295 now. We slip into our first break here. We come back. We discuss commodities. Sugar is in focus. My colleague Manisha will be speaking with Henry Wang of Sugden Shanghai for some perspective on the sugar market. Back in 2.